Hello, friends. Welcome to today's reflection and meditation for the Circle Unbroken, rooted in soul and responding in the world. In order to be rooted in ourselves, we need to be open to all that we are. And this is something that takes time. And really the path to this and the process also evolves over time. So I didn't want to come to this topic with a certain formula for all of us to apply. Sometimes focusing on the light within the darkness, which is the theme today, is a direct method where we recognize a certain place within us feels dark, obscure, unconscious is what we're talking about here. Other times, just simply focusing on the light, it penetrates the darkness. And at other times, it's a combination of them all. And the many approaches are so wide and varied. But I'd like to read the few phrases that are in the message for today, because they shine a light on where I'd like to go, and they are so potent. The first focus is embracing the shadow as sacred. Take just a moment and let yourself exhale into that. Embracing the shadow as sacred. Part of being rooted in the fullness of what we are is being open to all that we are. And then another line in this theme for today, I welcome my shadows. And this second part really hits me deeply. Even the unseen is holy. And the line is actually, even the unseen in me is holy. And so then it poses a natural question. What hidden part of me is longing to be seen with love? Now, there are some built-in implications or assumptions with this, and that is that if we have a hidden part that may be longing to be seen, there's an assumption that if it is seen, it will in a way become light. To be seen transmutes into becoming light. Does that ring true for you? What's interesting is then it builds in, it's assuming that to be seen is to be seen in the highest sense of that word. Because how often, maybe you have many times in your life, I know I have at times, not wanted to be seen because of the fear of judgment, which may be based on some real information that it's likely you'll be judged or hurt or rejected or put down. So here there's the assumption that this way of being seen opens up to the sacredness of the hidden part of the self. And what happens then? What happens then? You know, Teresa of Avila said, all my healing has always taken place like a gentle light. When the hidden parts of her came forward to be seen, she experienced a gentle light. And I believe that if we were to trace moments of healing, we could probably say the same, that if we were seen by ourselves or someone else, that there was a gentleness about it. There was a gentleness. An all-penetrating light that was good, that was compassionate. And in this world, it is understandable when we may actually hide from being seen. Because this world, on a lot of levels and in many ways, is not very safe. We're not very mature as human beings. We do not offer unconditional acceptance as a norm. It's isolated individuals. But when we are seen, what can happen? And could we allow ourselves to see ourselves? Oftentimes when we do inner child work for maybe wounds we've absorbed from when we were little, it's we ourselves as the adult that are offering the presence, aren't we? We're the ones seeing the child. And that's just as healing as being seen by perhaps the adult that wasn't able to see us or love us or know us. So what does that say about being seen? And are you willing or able to recognize that there are parts of you that want to be seen? And there are parts of you that want to be known. And when we say that, when I say that, parts of you that want to be known, that means that they're unknown. So they're not ideas of yourself that are already in your mind. Oh, I feel insecure. And then you let yourself be known in that. That's a stepping stone. But there are even more raw parts of you that may be contracted inward, that are afraid to be known and seen. That unknown naturally wants to come into the light. Think about, I don't know if it's a statistic or research, but very often when people do things that are a crime or hurtful, they usually long to tell somebody at some point. They usually long to, in some way, come into the light about it. And on one level, you could say, well, that could be very delusional. Maybe there's something ego-based, that they have some hidden joy in the atrocity being known. And that is true. There is some of that. But there's also the desire to be relieved of what's being held. I just read a quote just about a half hour ago, and I was trying to find it because I don't know who said it. And I flipped through it. It was a great quote. I'm hoping it comes across my feed again. Loneliness doesn't come from being alone with yourself. Loneliness comes about when you're not acknowledging some truth to yourself that you need to acknowledge. And it was much better said, and it was a heartier paragraph. There was more to it. So when we find ourselves uncomfortable being alone, is there a way that we are avoiding the unseen parts of ourselves, our shadow sides? And could we possibly open up to the possibility that the shadow is sacred, that the unseen within me is holy? Makes me think of the song Holy Ground. If being rooted in soul is being grounded in the wholeness of your being, then it's all holy ground. This is holy ground. I'm abiding right here in yourself on holy ground. For love is present, and where love is holy. This is holy ground. I'm abiding in holy ground, for love is present, and where love is holy. Could we sing that song to the parts of ourselves that are unknown? unknown, unseen, unloved. Only in the sense that unloved because there is a cutoff from self. But even that cutoff and what's on the other side, the fragment, is loved, is eternally loved. That is sacred and holy. But unloved is more a commentary on the hidden part doesn't, in a way, doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to receive that love. Can you sit with these phrases today that are in this passage for this video? Where can it take you? Where can it take you? If the unseen in you is holy, where can that take you? Could it take you right into the heart of the things that scare you to get to know about yourself? Maybe give it a try. To aid us in that today, we're going to do a Tonglen meditation. We've done this if you've been with me. And it's a Buddhist form of meditation that actually takes in suffering. Now, this isn't taking it in as in an over-identifying way. This is breathing the texture of it so that in the inhale, there's the being seen and seeing it. And on the exhale, there is the releasing it. There is the exhaling unlimited compassion. In this way, the parts of ourselves can be held, which then simultaneously allow us to drop into being rooted in soul. But it also allows us to recognize the shared nature of suffering. To recognize that in this shared nature of suffering, we break down the illusion of separation. So when we allow what is seen, what is unseen within us to be held in holiness and unconditional acceptance and compassion, in a way we do the same for all of humanity, and we realize in ourselves that there is no separation. That even in what is called suffering, there is shared suffering. It lets us penetrate this illusion. It makes everybody a friend and no one an enemy. So for the Tonglen meditation, we're going to do this very simple. We're going to come into silence, and then we're going to give presence to, you're going to call to mind and heart some suffering, some wound. Now, it could be something within yourself that you're somewhat aware of, but maybe you don't know it to the fullness. Maybe there's a certain insecurity, doubt, uncertainty. It could be anything. And if you're not able to come into contact with that within yourself, isolate one element of suffering that happens in our world. It could be one individual, could be the collective, hate, rejection, betrayal. So you're going to come clear on one aspect of suffering. And then what we're going to do is on the inhale, you're going to inhale dark, like dark matter, darkness, and be filled with, as much as you can, this suffering, whatever it is. And then on the exhale, you're going to release it with light. You're going to send forth relief and compassion. Inhaling the fullness, it's going to vibrate within you. Exhaling compassion. All right, so I invite you to close your eyes. if you haven't already done so, come close to some quality, some wound, either within yourself, within another, within the collective. Just one. You're going to think of just one. And now see if you can in some way create some qualities around this wound. Darkness, heaviness, griminess. Just describe it. Hardness, cold. Just describe it to yourself. Create some sensory connection with this wound or quality of darkness that you've identified. And once you have that, we'll begin our practice with the breath. So inviting in a breath and exhale. Inviting in a breath and exhale. And now on the next in-breath, breathe it in fully. Be saturated with this wound or this quality. And all the ways you've described it, all the emotional content and the textural content. Be it, be in it. And hold for as long as you can, and when you can hold no longer, exhale relief. Exhale light, penetrating, seeing, knowing, and loving this wound. And inhaling again, let the texture just be within every part of you. And exhale light and love, penetrating this wound within yourself and all the collective. And inhaling, and exhale unconditional compassion, light, knowing, seeing, and inhaling fully all of that darkness, for this shadow is sacred and the unseen elements of this are holy. And exhaling light and love. Inhaling again, being intimate, going into the darkness. And exhaling relief that the wound will be lightened and healed. And inhaling, full of the texture of this unseen, unconscious stirring energy. Exhaling light and love. And inhaling, full of that texture, not afraid, trusting that this is a path to wholeness. And exhaling light and relief and goodness. Continue at your own pace, being attentive to inhaling the shadow, exhaling light and compassion. And then relax your focus and sit in the silence for a moment. No need to continue the inhale and the exhale on the darkness and the light. Notice any changes within yourself. And then we bring this practice to a close, drawing the palms together in front of the heart. And with this namaste, bowing before yourself, letting all of you, the seen and the unseen, be held as holy. Bringing the palms up to the third eye. And when you're ready, saying namaste, namaste. Great to be with you.